Picture this, right? You're guarding a massive, incredibly complex fortress.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Historically, your biggest worry was basically a coordinated army showing up in your gates. I mean, that
Right.
was a threat you could see coming.
Right, because it took, time, money, and intense technical expertise for your enemy to actually assemble that kind of force.
Exactly. But now, imagine waking up, you look over those stone walls, and you realize the enemy outside your gates isn't a human army anymore.
Oh, wow.
It's an automated swarm of microscopic drones. I mean, they don't sleep. They cost pennies to manufacture. And honestly, most terrifyingly, they are actively learning your defenses in real time.
Yeah, they're instantly adapting to every single countermeasure you deploy.
Right. So suddenly, your heavy stone walls and your human guards pacing around, they are practically obsolete. The entire nature of the warfare has just completely changed.
It really has. I mean, that is the staggering reality of the modern cybersecurity landscape right now.
Yeah. Thanks to artificial intelligence, attackers are moving faster, their tools are becoming infinitely cheaper, and the technical barrier to entry has absolutely plummeted.
It's an arms race, plain and simple. We've reached a tipping point where relying on human reaction times, to fight an algorithm that iterates thousands of times a second is just an unwinnable battle.
Unwinnable. And that dynamic is exactly what we are dissecting today on this deep dive. We are looking at a major strategic pivot in this AI arms race, which is Intrusion Inc.'s recent acquisition of Vigilagent.
A really fascinating move.
Just for some context for you listening, Intrusion is a company known for possessing this massive, almost incomprehensible database of historical internet data.
Right, and now they've just purchased an AI-powered managed security provider.
Yeah. So we are going to break down what actually happens when you smash those two distinct capabilities together, whether you are a business leader trying to protect your enterprise network or, an investor watching the cybersecurity market.
Or just someone fascinated by the nuts and bolts of modern digital warfare.
Exactly. This is really a blueprint for where the entire industry is heading. Okay, let's unpack this.
To really grasp the gravity of this move, I think we have to look past the underlying technology for just a second and look at the immediate business transformation.
The actual deal itself.
Yeah, because this isn't just about bolting some new software feature onto an existing product. It is a fundamental shift in how Intrusion goes to market.
Let's look at those mechanics. So Intrusion, which trades on the NASDAQ under INTZ, acquired Vigilagent, which operates as an MSSP.
Right, a managed security service provider.
Exactly. They bought them from a company called Tego Cyber Inc. And the press release highlights that this deal instantly adds about $3.5 million in annual recurring revenue, or ARR, from multi-year contracts.
Which is nice, obviously.
It is.
Yeah.
But I have to push back a little on the financial narrative here. In the broader cybersecurity industry, which is a multi-billion-dollar space, is $3.5 million in revenue really the main prize here?
That's a very fair question.
Because, to use an analogy, it feels to me like Intrusion isn't just buying a bucket of water to boost their numbers. They're buying a ready-made plumbing system.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the top-line revenue really is just the tip of the iceberg here. Your plumbing analogy is a much better way to frame it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, investors and business leaders care deeply about annual recurring revenue. It provides stability. It's that predictable, compounding money that helps a business weather, market fluctuations.
ARR is the bread and butter.
Yeah, but a $3.5 million ARR injection doesn't redefine a publicly traded company on its own. What redefines them is the distribution network attached to that revenue.
The actual pipes they bought.
Precisely. Vigilagent brings an established network of over 80 reseller partners and an installed base of roughly 1,000 customers.
1,000 customers. That's huge.
In the enterprise software world, building channel partnerships, getting other companies to actively resell your product is notoriously slow and expensive.
Right. It can take years just to vet partners, train their sales teams, integrate into their billing systems, all of that.
Exactly. And Intrusion just bypassed all of that friction. They now have 1,000 warm leads and 80 dedicated pipes to pump their existing commercial products through, literally from day one.
It's a massive operational shortcut. Instead of knocking on 80 different doors and trying to convince them, hey, carry our product, you just buy the relationships outright.
Yeah. And it looks like they are heavily focused on preserving those relationships, too.
Oh, for sure. Because they brought in the architects of that system. Bobby Mickelson, the chief executive agent, and Mark Porter, the chief revenue officer of Vigilagent, are both joining Intrusion's senior management team.
The personnel retention is a critical tell here. When you see acquisitions fail, it's often because the parent company just, buys a customer list, strips the acquired company for parts, and fires the executives who actually understand the client base.
The classic corporate blunder.
Right. But both Tony Scott, the CEO of Intrusion, and Mark Porter explicitly emphasized immediate cross-selling opportunities.
Yeah, you bring those leaders in to weave the sales strategies together. So Intrusion is essentially acquiring a commercial growth engine designed to scale their business meaningfully right out of the gate.
Exactly, leveraging leaders who already possess the trust of those 80 partners.
But, business strategy and distribution pipelines only matter if the underlying technology actually functions in the real world.
Very true.
I mean, you can have the most efficient plumbing system ever built, but if the water you are pumping through it is toxic, nobody's going to buy it.
Right.
So we need to look at how these two distinct technology stacks are actually integrating, because here's where it gets really interesting.
This is the core of why this acquisition makes sense structurally. We are looking at two highly complementary assets built on years of research and development.
But they approach the problem of network security from entirely different operational angles, right?
Exactly.
Okay, let's start with Intrusion's native architecture, TraceCop. According to the data, TraceCop is this proprietary database that catalogs historical behavior, associations, and reputational risk on over 8.5 billion IPv4 and IPv6 addresses, domains, and host names.
It's a staggering amount of data.
Yeah. It was built over years of gathering global internet intelligence, originally supporting government entities. So my question is TraceCop basically the world's most massive criminal background check database for the internet?
Think of it more like an intelligence agency's master dossier. It isn't just a basic list of known bad guys.
Okay.
It's a deeply contextual map of essentially neighborhoods on the internet. If a specific IP address was involved in a dormant botnet 3 years ago, or if a cluster of domain names has a history of hosting suspicious offshore financial portals, TraceCop has that context.
Oh, wow. So it remembers everything.
Right. It understands the historical reputation and the hidden associations of almost every node on the internet.
Okay, so TraceCop brings this deep historical context. Then we look at what they acquired with Vigilagent, which is the Oracle.
Yes, the Oracle.
The Oracle is described as a proprietary agentic AI engine that sees and learns from roughly 1 billion events every single day. So, to continue our analogy, if TraceCop is the background check database sitting back at the precinct, is the Oracle the active, real-time detective walking the beat and putting the clues together on the street?
The detective analogy works, but we have to scale it up significantly to understand the mechanics.
How so?
Imagine 1 million detectives walking the streets simultaneously, processing data at light speed. The Oracle is analyzing raw network traffic, spotting anomalies, and making micro-decisions on 1 billion events daily.
That's a lot of decisions.
It is. But here's the operational challenge with AI at that scale. If an AI engine looks at 1 billion events without deep context, it is going to generate an unmanageable amount of false positives.
Like it flags everything that looks weird.
Exactly. It might see an unusual burst of encrypted traffic and flag it as a data exfiltration attempt, when in reality, it's just, a new corporate backup protocol running.
Which just creates noise. And if the security team gets flooded with thousands of false alarms every day, they just start ignoring the alerts entirely.
That is the absolute bane of modern security operations centers alert fatigue. And that is exactly where the synergy between these two technologies becomes so powerful.
The historical meets the real time.
Yes. When you feed TraceCop's historical intelligence into the Oracle, you aren't just getting a fast detective. You are getting a hyper-fast detective who instantly knows the criminal history and associations of every single packet of data it inspects.
That's incredible.
Right. So the Oracle sees an anomaly, but instead of guessing if it's malicious, it cross-references the event against 8.5 billion historical data points in real time. It accelerates threat detection because it actually has the context to know what it is looking at.
Okay, so having a genius AI detective backed by a massive historical database is phenomenal in theory. But in a real corporate IT department, how does that actually manifest?
It manifests through their next-generation platform.
Right, Intrusion Shield, which operates primarily in 2 distinct modes, Observe mode and Protect mode. And I have to admit, this threw me a bit.
How so?
Well, I always assumed a network firewall just blocked everything bad automatically. Why do we even need an observe mode? Shouldn't a security platform just be in protect mode 24/7?
It's a super common misconception, but deploying a rigid block everything unknown policy on a live enterprise network is a great way to accidentally shut down your entire company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you turn on a hyper-aggressive AI protection tool without mapping the territory first, you might inadvertently block your HR software from running payroll or sever the connection to your supply chain vendors. Observe mode prevents that.
Ah, okay. So it's about learning the normal traffic of the business first.
Yes. In observe mode, Intrusion Shield acts like an incredibly sophisticated passive radar system. It uses Intrusion's exclusive TraceCop data to deliver analytical insights.
Just sitting there watching.
Exactly. It sits quietly on the network, watching the traffic flow, finding unseen patterns and previously unknown risks that a standard rules-based firewall would just wave right through because it doesn't possess the historical context.
So it shows the IT team the invisible landmines without actually detonating them.
Perfect way to put it.
Okay, so observe mode maps the territory safely. But eventually, you need to actually stop the attacks. That's where protect mode kicks in.
And protect mode is where the automation takes over. It actively monitors the traffic flow and automatically blocks known malicious connections. But more importantly, it blocks unknown connections based on behavior and reputational risk to defend against zero-day threats and ransomware.
0 day meaning threats that are so brand new, nobody in the world has a patch or a software signature for them yet.
That's the critical piece. A traditional firewall relies on signatures, basically a mugshot of a known virus.
Right.
If the firewall hasn't seen the specific mugshot before, it lets the traffic in. But Intrusion Shield, powered by this AI and historical data, doesn't need a mugshot.
Because it recognizes the behavior instead.
Exactly. It recognizes the malicious behavior or the poor reputation of the source IP and severs the connection automatically. And this brings us to how Vigilagent's technology actually modernizes this entire process through what they call a security fabric.
Right, the security fabric. Whenever I hear terms like that, it just sounds like marketing speak to me. What does a security fabric actually mean operationally for a business?
It's actually a very specific architectural approach. It means weaving human oversight together with agentic AI.
Okay, we should clarify what agentic AI, specifically Vigilagent's virtual agents, actually is. Most people just think of AI as generative, right? Like a chatbot where you ask a question and it gives you text back.
Exactly, but agentic AI is different. It has agency. It doesn't just flag an alert on a dashboard and wait for a human to click a button.
Wait, so it's making operational decisions on its own?
Within the guardrails set by the human defenders, yes. If the Oracle detects a rapidly spreading ransomware strain trying to execute on a server, a virtual agent can take independent action.
Like what?
It can dynamically rewrite a firewall rule, isolate that specific server, or quarantine a segment of the network in milliseconds, long before a human analyst could even open the alert notification.
That's wild.
This fabric modernizes cyber defense because the AI handles the massive scale and speed of incoming threats automatically. That frees up the human security analyst to focus on complex, high-level threat hunting rather than drowning in a sea of low-level alerts.
Okay, so we have this incredibly powerful, newly combined ecosystem. We have TraceCop providing the historical context, the Oracle processing 1 billion events a day, and these virtual agents actively weaving the defense fabric.
A very robust setup.
But, let's look at the competitive landscape for a second, because Intrusion isn't the only player in town. You've got giants out there like CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks, Sentinel Alone, Microsoft Security.
Massive companies with huge market shares.
Right. Does Intrusion now compete in an entirely different market against these behemoths? I mean, can a smaller company actually outperform larger vendors through this kind of specialization?
It's a great question. The key here is that they aren't necessarily trying to beat Microsoft at being Microsoft. Microsoft Security is deeply integrated into the OS level. CrowdStrike and Sentinel Alone are famous for their endpoint protection securing the actual laptops and servers.
So where does Intrusion fit in?
Intrusion is leveling up by combining network-level intelligence with managed services. Palo Alto does network security, yes, but Intrusion's edge is that 8.5 billion point historical database paired with the MSSP model from Vigilagent.
Oh, I see. So for a customer, they aren't just buying a tool they have to manage themselves.
Exactly. Organizations are suffering from severe tool sprawl. They have dozens of disconnected security tools from all these different vendors. It's too complex.
So they want an integrated platform instead.
Right. What existing intrusion customers gain here is that advanced AI automation. What Vigilagent customers gain is the world-class TraceCop data. Together, it forms a cohesive platform that managed security operations can use to defend a network without the customer having to hire 20 specialized engineers.
Which brings us back to the urgency of all this. Intrusion was already doing prevention. Why this massive pivot to an AI-native platform right now?
The urgency is dictated entirely by the adversaries. Intrusion's CEO, Tony Scott, was very transparent about this. He pointed out that AI is completely reshaping the cybersecurity space from the ground up.
He noted that the adoption of AI by malicious actors has drastically reduced the cost, the required technical expertise, and the time needed to develop highly sophisticated, scalable attacks.
It's terrifying, really.
Basically, 10 years ago, you needed a PhD in computer science or state-sponsored backing to launch a devastating, customized cyber attack. Today, you just need access to an offensive AI tool and a few dollars in crypto.
The barrier to entry has vanished. A novice attacker can now leverage AI to generate polymorphic malware.
Meaning malware that changes.
Yes. It constantly rewrites its own code as it moves through a network specifically to evade traditional signature-based detection. They can use AI to scrape the internet and draft thousands of highly personalized, contextually perfect phishing emails in seconds.
So the volume and complexity are just scaling exponentially.
Absolutely.
So what does this all mean? I want to challenge a core assumption here about the future of defense. If the barrier to entry is virtually zero, and if AI empowers attackers to iterate and mutate their weapons infinitely, are human defenders just inherently at a permanent disadvantage?
It's a grim thought.
Is speed now the only deciding factor left in cyber defense?
What's fascinating here is that the definition of a human defender has to change. Yes, if a human analyst is relying on manual tools and their own physical reaction times, they are absolutely at a permanent disadvantage.
Because they just can't move fast enough.
Yeah. Consider an AI-driven ransomware attack. Once it breaches the perimeter, it can encrypt critical enterprise databases in milliseconds. No human being, regardless of their skill level, can perceive an alert, analyze the data, and click a mouse fast enough to stop that encryption process once it begins.
It is physically impossible. It's literally a math problem that humans just can't solve fast enough.
Exactly why this acquisition is so pivotal. Intrusion's strategic move here isn't merely about adding ARR to a balance sheet. It is about fundamentally evolving into an AI-native cybersecurity platform.
Right.
The prevailing logic in the industry now is that you cannot fight an autonomous AI-driven attack with manual, human-driven defenses. You have to deploy agentic AI-like Vigilagent's virtual agents to fight malicious AI.
Speed is the ultimate deciding factor.
Yes, which is why an engine like the Oracle, acting as an autonomous front line, is no longer a luxury for businesses. It is a baseline requirement.
It's the literal definition of fighting fire with fire. The attackers possess engines that never sleep, scale infinitely, and adapt instantly. So the defenders require an engine that never sleeps, scales infinitely, and critically possesses that memory of 8.5 billion historical data points to outsmart the attacker's algorithms.
As Tony Scott summarized, customers urgently need solutions that can get ahead of these threats. You can no longer afford to operate in a reactive posture.
You have to preemptively block them.
Right. By marrying their massive historical data repository with a real-time AI engine, Intrusion is building a platform designed to do exactly that.
It's a massive paradigm shift.
Yeah.
But, looking ahead, this integration, combining two tech stacks and two corporate cultures, it's going to be a real test for them.
Integrations are always challenging.
So before we wrap up, let's look into the future. I think we should each make 5 predictions for where cybersecurity is going to be in 5 years, given this insane AI arms race.
Oh, I love that idea. I can start.
Go for it.
Prediction 1. In 5 years, human analysts will stop looking at raw security logs entirely. The AI will just provide a synthesized narrative of what it already fixed.
That makes total sense. Okay, my first prediction. I think AI will write 90% of all new malware. Humans will just act as, the directors prompting the AI on who to attack.
I can definitely see that. Okay, prediction 2 for me. We are going to see massive consolidation in the market. The tool sprawl you mentioned earlier. That ends. Companies will buy everything from a single security fabric provider.
Completely agree. For my second one, I predict the absolute death of the traditional firewall. If it doesn't have agentic AI baked in, it'll be considered legacy tech and completely useless.
Spot on. My third prediction. Ransomware is going to pivot. Instead of just encrypting data, attackers will use AI to subtly poison a company's own AI training datasets, holding the integrity of their models hostage.
Oh, that's terrifying. Data poisoning. Okay, my third prediction. Cybersecurity budgets are going to surpass physical security budgets for literally every Fortune 500 company.
They probably already should.
Right. Okay, my fourth prediction is that speed in cyber defense will no longer be measured in milliseconds, but in microseconds. If you are operating in milliseconds, you're already dead.
I agree. For my fourth prediction, building on that speed, we will see autonomous AI systems negotiating with ransomware AI systems directly, completely cutting humans out of the ransom payment process.
Wow. Machine-to-machine negotiation. That's
Uh-huh.
bleak, but probably accurate. Okay, my final prediction. Every single mid-sized company will be forced to use an MSSP. Running your own security operations center internally will just be too complex and expensive for anyone outside the Fortune 100.
I completely agree with that. And for my final prediction, let's tie it back to Intrusion.
Yeah, where do they end up if this integration works?
If Intrusion executes this perfectly, if they seamlessly merge TraceCop's history with the Oracle's speed and leverage that channel network, they won't just be a niche player. They will become one of the premier AI-native network defenders and, frankly, a prime acquisition target for one of the massive tech giants who need that specific 8.5 billion point intelligence edge.
That is a very solid prediction. So to pull all these threads together for you, the listener, Intrusion's acquisition of Vigilagent is a textbook example of a company looking at the horizon and adapting before the storm hits.
Absolutely.
They aren't just acquiring an MSSP to pad their recurring revenue, although bringing in an established network of 80 partners and 1,000 customers provides incredible immediate value. What they are actually doing is executing a structural evolution.
They are transforming from a data-heavy prevention tool into a dynamic AI-native platform explicitly designed to fight the automated threats of tomorrow.
It's a highly strategic maneuver. But before we sign off on this deep dive, I want to leave you with a lingering thought, something to mull over that builds on everything we've discussed today.
Let's hear it.
Think back to that fortress we talked about at the beginning. The attackers are using AI swarms to breach the walls. The defenders, like Intrusion, are building autonomous AI shields to hold the line. As both sides fully embrace artificial intelligence, will the future of cybersecurity eventually become completely invisible to us?
That might be the most profound question in the industry right now.
Right. Are we heading toward a reality where autonomous systems like the Oracle on one side and a malicious algorithm on the other are just silently waging these massive, microscopic wars in the background?
Wars that begin, escalate, and end before a human analyst even has time to blink.
Exactly. We might be rapidly approaching a world that effectively removes human security guards from the loop entirely. Next time you log onto your secure corporate network, just take a second to think about the invisible AI battles being fought in the background in milliseconds, just to let you safely check your email.